Good evening, everyone. My name is Nakura Shadia. Um, the assignment. This is the assignment of artificial intelligence. Can we? Can computers think? Could we ever have computers that think? And this is my project introduction. My project is an AI-powered mosquito trap. This one detects mosquitoes that carry malaria infection using wing beat sounds, identifies the mosquitoes coming into space. It identifies the one which carries malaria infection and triggers responses such as directing them to a trap or casting a laser light at them to kill them. So I will relate my arguments to the above project. Can machines think or can computers think? First of all, what is thinking? Humanly, thinking involves reasoning. Humanly, thinking involves reasoning, emotions, understanding, consciousness, consciousness, which means alert or awake when someone's mental faculties active. Intuition, which is the immediate cognition without the use of conscious rational processes. Here in conscious I mean something when you know something but you don't know how you got to know it. It just comes naturally. Then thinking in machines means involves the ability to process data, follow rules and also recognize patterns and bring out the required patterns. For example, in my AI project, the mosquito trap, when a mosquito comes into an area where my machine is, the pattern, the machine recognizes which mosquito carries infection using wing beats and and also it can differentiate it from other mosquitoes or other insects in that area. And if it identifies it's the one that carries malaria infection, it triggers of a response by casting a laser light to kill it. Then there are different theoretical thinkings. For example, the Turing test by Alan Turing in 1950. This test involves a human examiner or a human evaluator who uses a test, who uses who's given a, a test transcript of a human, of a fellow human and a machine. And if he is able to discern the difference between what belongs to a computer and what belongs to a human, then the human has passed. If this human evaluator cannot differentiate the difference, then the machine has passed. That means that the machine is thinking. So, to a small extent, computers, yes, can think. The fact that computers can write a text and the human is not able to distinguish it from pers- from the person's written text, from a fellow person's written text, then the computer is like a human because you cannot distinguish which one is a human and which is a machine. But to a larger extent, no, computers do not think. Why? It might be a pattern in this computer, the rules that was fed into it to follow that would have helped it to be able type like a human, to act like a human, so that a fellow human cannot distinguish it. Then according, now let me first go to the Chinese room argument by John Searle. Computers do not think because they do not understand the meaning. Here, I applied it in my project, like in my AI mosquito trap. First of all, the Chinese room argument is a person is put into a room and given a rule book of Chinese, and another person stands outside. A Chinese person stands outside the room. He then asks questions where the person inside the room just follows the rule book and responds to the Chinese person asking the questions. Then does this mean, if we put it into, it's kind of like a computer system. So if we put it into my machine, that does not mean that this person really knows Chinese, but he just follows the rules in the rule book, and might not be knowing the exact meaning of the things. Even though when he knows the meaning, that does not mean that he understands the Chinese language. Then the application of these theories into my project. Um, my AI mosquito trap processes sound patterns. Yes, when a mosquito comes in, it detects the wind beats and can distinguish this mosquito from other mosquitoes and insects. But this does not mean that my project really understands mosquitoes, or the reason why it was designed, the mosquito prevention, the mosquito no the malaria prevention. So yes, it's still useful. It prevents malaria by trapping or repelling mosquitoes, but this does not mean that it knows, it, it sees the good. Like us humans, we see the good in preventing malaria. We know the dangers of preventing malaria, but this machine just does what was programmed in it for it to do, but does not know the exact reasons as to why. Then I continued with the theoretical understanding. Then there is this strong AI versus weak AI. In my AI trap, a strong AI will be one which can which can do tasks on its own without being programmed or following patterns that were set in it. Like for example, in my mosquito trap, if 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 an insect or a mosquito carrying malaria comes, of course it will follow patterns and kill it, or send it to another, to a directed trap. But that does not mean that it really understands the fundamental reasons as to why we created it. The machine does not understand, cannot, or maybe, let me say, another insect which is dangerous. It cannot kill it on its own, but rather will kill what was programmed in it, only a mosquito. But there are other different insects which are dangerous to human life. But can my computer or my system kill that insect when it comes into space where it is because it's dangerous? No, because it does not know, maybe does not know this insect, or it does not know the danger to human life. Therefore, The system, the AI mosquito trap, the computer is a weak AI since it does not have a genuine mind, means that it does not know a real mosquito, nor the dangers of malaria, but just follows pattern design in it and bring out output. Then in my conclusion, therefore, in the context of my AI mosquito trap, the system brilliantly executes a complex predefined task, the task which is malaria prevention. But, however, it operates purely on syntax, the formal manipulation of data patterns. The processes it processes it processes no semantic understanding of health, insects, or the life-saving goal of its programming. Therefore, computers do not think. That would my arguments for question one, that computers do not think. Then, for the second question, could we ever have a computer that is able to think? First of all, according to classical theory of mind, it is possible to ever have computers that think, in that the mind, classical theory of mind, involves that it denotes that the mind involves the rule-based symbol manipulation, where the mind only just follows, manipulates symbols following the rules in the mind. So in my project, if indeed this is the mind and it is where thinking occurs, if indeed the classical theory of mind is true, that indeed the mind just responds to rule-based simple manipulation, my machine will follow pattern and is said to think just like humans. Will follow the patterns, the symbols that were installed in it to perform its life-saving goal. Then, according to the connectionism theory of mind, sorry, according to the connectionism theory of mind, the mind is a network of interconnected units called neurons that process information collectively. So this is what connectionism means. Theory of mind means that the mind is a network of interconnected units called neurons that process information collectively. Therefore, computers designed as neural as computers designed as neural networks could, in this principle, mimic human cognition processes. In my project, via learning and adaptation, the system will be able to identify mosquitoes from other buzzing sounds. In conclude, this is a continuation. However, however, according to Penrose's ideas of the mathematical mind in the Emperor's mind, this is a book, the Emperor's mind, human minds can solve problems that cannot be fully captured by formal algorithm that is non-computable functions. This guy Penrose says that human minds can solve problems. The fact that even it was a human mind that created a, a, a computer, that means that this computer can never beat the human mind, because this was its creator. It's like us humans saying that we can outsmart God. We can't, because even what we think is the one giving them to us. Therefore, this AI, this machine can never outsmart me, because even the things that it knows, it's me who gave it to it. So in conclusion, therefore, we may never have a computer that really thinks like human being unless man becomes God and breathe life into machines. So will they become alive like humans? Because all we know that machines don't have life. They are just following patterns. There is a special, like, I don't know, a special something that God put into man that he can understand he sees something and gets a solution. He sees a problem and just knows the solution, or finds out the solution, which machines cannot do. They just follow patterns that were set in them. Yeah, that was my contribution. Thank you so much.